what God cannot do does not exist. I have come to give glory to God for all He has done in my life and in my family. On the 31st of October, my wife put to bed a bouncing baby boy, and we are all glorious and joyful to God. Just less than 24 hours later, we were supposed to be discharged from the hospital, and the child was grunting and gasping for air. We had to call the doctor to come and look at the child. Just for the doctor to get there and say that this child that was born less than 24 hours earlier doesn't have blood in his body. We tried getting blood from his body, tried checking his veins tried checking his body for vein. Anywhere he put the cannula, no blood came out of the child. Tried from the hand, the right and left arm, tried from his leg. There was no blood from anywhere. Then he told us that he has to call a pediatrician, that he cannot handle the case, that only way they could get blood from this child now or get a vein will have to be from his navel. So they called a pediatrician. On getting there, his surgeon was like, we took this child straight to intensive care unit in the hospital. When we got there, they said they have to do blood transfusion. Immediately they put this child on oxygen. I was like, where is this one coming from? Even the matron that delivered the child the previous day came out like, this child is not possible. That this child was delivered, the child was very, very healthy, and 24 hours is something else. So the doctor said I should go and give blood to be able to transfuse the child. While we were in the process of giving blood, the doctor said it will be too late for me before I will finish donating the blood. It might be too late. I have to just take another blood from their blood bank that matches with the child and give to this child. So immediately they gave him the blood, it became pink, and they were tossing his hand and everything, and the doctor was happy, and we thought that was the end of everything. And immediately after that, he wanted to take down the things that he had done in the child's folder, just for him to go check the child heartbeat again. This child, all the blood in the child's body was gone. Everything was gone. It was paper white again. He was grunting for breath, and his stomach was swollen, his chest was raised up. And the doctor was like, he has never seen this type of case before, but he said he will have to refer us. And that time I was telling you, it was around 9 at night that he has to refer us to the Federal Medical Center in Yenagoa. Then he called, then he was like, there was no need to even refer us there because he is the one in charge of Federal Medical Center in Yenagoa. He had to call his colleague that is there. After a while, they exchanged ideas. Then he said they had to do what is known as exchange blood transfusion, where they have to remove all the blood in the child and put new blood continually for a period of time. He did that. After doing that, the child became stable. But at this point, the child was still grunting for breath. He was still on oxygen. He could not breathe without the oxygen, and everything was, his stomach was swollen. And the doctor was trying to find out whether there is blood in his stomach. He put his hand inside his anus. There was no blood. There was a tube in his throat to be able to bring out anything that is in his stomach. There was no blood coming out of the tube. The doctor was surprised. He was confused. From what I could see, he was confused. But at the end of everything, he told us, okay, we have to wait till the next morning to be able to know what is wrong. They have to do an x-ray and a scan on the child. So the morning came, they did an x-ray. The moment they did the x-ray, the radiologist told me that there was a perforation in the child's bowels, meaning that he has a tear in his bowel and it was bleeding into his stomach, and that's why the stomach was swollen. And by the time we were doing this x-ray, the child started stooling blood. So they called the doctor. The doctor came and said, as it stands, that they will have to refer us to University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital for a surgery. When I was going to Port Harcourt, I was praying, say, God, take us to this place safely. What you cannot do does not exist. The moment we got to Port Harcourt, like, the doctors were all mesmerized. They were like, they've not seen this type of case before. How did this child get to this level? The child that is just barely 2 days old, it was chaos. They said, then from what they are seeing, this child has to go into the theater and so on and so forth. They were asking different questions. One of the doctor had to be very plain and open and said she has never seen this type of case. A specialist, everybody in the clinic, all the doctors, they were very afraid because they believe, they just didn't want to tell us that this child will not make it. But they're not trying to be professional because they keep telling us that your child is very, very sick. Your child is very, very sick. They just keep telling us, go and pray, go and pray. Everybody will go and pray. So they said, okay, as it stands, and we have to wait for the surgeon to come and examine the child so they'll be able to take the child to the theater. The moment the surgeon came, the first thing he asked, which church do you attend? I was like, what why are you asking me what church do I attend? We came here for solutions. They went to do some tests, ECU, full blood count. They said it does not have his blood count was very low. They had to do new transfusion. Then they did kidney function test and they said the child's kidney was not functioning well. I keep praying, I keep following NSCPD. I say what God cannot do does not exist. My wife, my sister-in-law, we are all praying morning, night. Meanwhile, while all this was happening, Pastor Jerry Eze said,
I don't know who you are, but I hear infection of your blood vessels. I don't know what this means, but by the power that raised Jesus from the dead, I decree, let it be reversed by fire. Let it be reversed by fire.
We kept believing in God that what God cannot do does not exist. And by the time we went back to do another test, they said the kidney was functioning well, his blood was okay and everything. I want to give God all the glory. They said that the overall professor that is in charge of the unit came and said they were not doing surgery on the child, that they cannot find any perforation in the child bowel. All through everything, I saw God. I've been in church since I was born, and I've been saying, words are not enough to say how much I'm grateful unto you. But God showed himself strong, that right in my bones and in my soul, I could feel it, that words truly are not enough to say how much I'm grateful to God. What God cannot do does not exist. And that God in the altar of fire came through for me. I've come to give God all the glory. I want to thank you, Pastor Jerry Eze. I want to thank every member of the altar of fire and everyone that is watching, that what God cannot do does not, no matter the situation, God is able to perfect everything. Thank you very much.